Okay.
Good afternoon and welcome to the second Sunday poetry series. My name is Alex Frankel and I'm a little-known old poet struggling quietly in the quiet poetic hinterlands near El Sereno and Highland Park. This event happens once a month and I'm glad you're here. Today we have two wonderful features, C.S. Blue and Mary Troutman. Although C.S. Blue goes by different names, sometimes he's C.S. Blue and sometimes simply Stephen Blue. We have two marvelous features, and we also have a few open mic readers, and we'll do the open mic first. What I'd like to do is break the ice. I usually bring some very short poems to sort of break the ice. Sort of sacrificial poems before we actually get to the open mic readers. This is an interesting book. I just wrote a review of this book. It's called I Am the Beggar of the World, Landais from Contemporary Afghanistan. And Landai is a two-line folk couplet. And nowadays usually written by women, often illiterate women, and often oppressed illiterate women in Afghanistan. And I understand Poetry Magazine devoted a whole issue to this topic, and they did a story on PBS about it as well. Here, translated by Eliza Griswold, are a few of the Landais from contemporary Afghanistan. They're all anonymous. Translated by Eliza. Making love to an old man is like fucking a shriveled cornstalk, black with mold. That's what they talk about behind the veil. You see, there's a lot more to these women of Afghanistan than an American might suspect. And that's one of the purposes of this book. And she fears that once the Americans leave, as much as they are conflicted about the presence of Americans, she's afraid that once they leave, there will be even more oppression, and we'll hear even less from the Afghan women than we do now. Okay. Embrace me in your suicide vest, but don't say I won't give you a kiss. Good pictures too, very good pictures. You can actually see them even better online or in a book by Seamus Murphy, a veteran Irish photographer who has traveled extensively for years in Afghanistan. Your eyes aren't eyes, they're bees. I can find no cure for their sting. Daughter, in America the river isn't wet. Young girls learn to fill their jugs on the internet. How much simpler can love be? Let's get engaged. Text me. I lost you on Facebook yesterday. I'll find you on Google today. May God make you into a riverbank flower so I may smell you when I go to gather water. I think the love poems are the best in here. This is a dialogue between boy and girl. Girl starts. When you kissed me, you bit me. What will my mother say? Boy. Give your mother this answer. I went to fetch water and fell by the river. Girl. Your jug isn't broken, my mother will say. So why is your bottom lip bleeding that way? Boy. Give your mother this reply. I fell on stone, my jug on clay. Girl. You have all my mother's answers, sweet. Now have my mouth. Bon appetit. Yeah. Well, as I said, behind those veils there's a lot going on. And often these are written, but often they are not written. They are just communicated on the phone, because Afghan women are not allowed to write poetry. If they're caught writing poetry, they can be stoned to death.
Where did you learn that?
In the introduction to this book, Eliza Griswold has spent a long time traveling in Afghanistan.
So that's current?
With her translator, and she has to dress up, and she's not allowed to travel with the photographer, Seamus Murphy, because he's a man. So she has to travel, just Eliza and a translator, into this world which is normally not accessible to foreigners. And that's why a lot of it is oral. They're not allowed to write. In my dream, I am the president. When I awake, I am the beggar of the world. You sold me to an old man, Father. May God destroy your home. I was your daughter. You wound a thick turban around your bald head to hide your age. Why, you're nearly dead. The old goat seized a kiss from my pout, like tearing a piece of fat from a starving dog's snout. Listen, friends, and share my despair. My cruel father is selling me to an old goat with white hair. And so on. And I highly recommend this book. Beautiful book, beautiful pictures. I am the beggar of the world. And we actually have two Beverleys, so I will say the last name. You have 3 or 4 minutes, 4 minutes. If you get a siren, you get 8 minutes. That's how it works. So Beverly Morgan Sandos is our first reader. If you don't mind coming up, unless you'd rather have someone else, Beverly.
Thank you. What you read was beautiful and thought-provoking. I'm going to read 2 poems. The first was written when my husband and I we were in San Francisco for our anniversary last year. And we had brunch at a restaurant, and we were in a taxi going up the hill over to the Hague. Perry's restaurant, thank you, honey. And we were in a taxi going up the hill to the Haight Avenue Street Festival. So this poem is called Anniversary. Well, anyway, as we were in the taxi, I noticed this couple, and this poem is my reflection on them. He, wrinkled, his skin bumpy and scaly, showing the ravages of his disease, his walk slow and unsteady. She, a face once beautiful, now just as wrinkled, closes the car door, her walk also slower, but quicker. She gazes at him and watches as he moves towards their home. Together, they will wait for the quiet to come. And the second poem that I'm going to read, I know that probably we all have lost someone close and close to us, and perhaps sometimes we think about what we might say if someone had asked us to come up and write something about that person. So this is my reflection. It's called Meade William, a Eulogy. He was called many names. He hated to fight, thus came the name Esime. He was left-handed. He played marbles well. He shot pool even better, thus came the name Lefty. He dated girls older than he, and thus came the name Bill. And he was a junior. named after the father from whom he would grow a string. But always he introduced himself as me, William. This was how he answered the phone, how he returned a call. It was a family joke, and it left his siblings wondering if he was confirming his existence for himself or for them. He grew to manhood, married, and had a son. He got sick, recovered, got sick again. He grew weak from this yo-yo ride with life, telling his family that he was tired, so very tired. He passed away soon after one of these conversations. His siblings would recall his laugh, loud and booming, and that he was a jokester, referring to each of them as dum-dum. But they remembered most his introduction, and are certain that his knock on heaven's door is followed by, "Hello, it's me, William."
Thank you, Beverly. And next we have Beverly Swanson. I think I have that last name correct. Beverly Swanson, welcome. I'm not sure how much I should lower. Maybe I should raise it.
Hi, I'm Beverly Swanson. I'm also going to read 2 poems. The first one is called Desert Sun. Desert sun, big black dog prances across the beat-up street, tongue hanging, smiling plain. Sleep oozes from the ground, sweating off the burnt-out weeds, sparkling, floating through the rays, prancing through the dead air. I move my hands down your shirt, black cotton grayed with time, past the square of the pocket, down your rounded, muscular chest. I stop at your arms. I hold on tight and kiss you lightly on the lips. You smile and pull me to you. Your hand on my back is electric. It closes the circuit. We flow. It closes the door on my demons for now. We are waiting, holding each other in the cradle of my car. We are bursting with sex and confusion in this dead place, where the earth ends, just south of the middle of nowhere. We are happy for a moment as we wait for your boss to show up, so you can make money and I can go home, cross the slow, stinking freeways, and figure out who I am anymore. The other one is called Horatio. For when all has come to dust, I will kill you if I must. I will love you if I can. It's my folk song. I am Horatio. I am a yogi. I am a pile of protoplasm listening to the dead, seeking their wisdom. In the rustling of the leaves, skinny arms shivering, chicken skin, teeth clenched, ready to bite, ready to fight. Heart in my stomach on the floor, tired, sad, old eyes, drooping like rocks, drooping like smiles after too many wars, twirling strand of hair around finger, dirty, dead, flat hair, chemicals coursing through my veins, self-manufactured drugs of an unseen sadist. But I'm still here in my chair, resting what's left of my bottom. I'm still here, moving my lovely little left hand to tell the tale. Tales of loss and sorrow, tales of wars, of humiliation, tales of puzzlement, eyes darting wildly to find God. But how can the delicate survive? On what mean streets can you wear those spikes? And what will you tell me after you've gone from this plane? But I will go on. At least another moment, as the cats know. When you run away through the house, there's just a bunch of walls and coming back to sit and twitch and twirl. My story. I'm still here to tell the tale. Another morning will come with cats on my stomach and light pouring in, with guilt in my gut, turned off the clock, and thoughts falling out of my head, mixing with the hairs and dirt on the floor. And I will write and make pretty pictures with this pen and tap the keys in Arial and beseech you to witness, to hear my tale, to give this existence some meaning, to plant my flag on the barren moon called LA. I will beseech you to hear my story before it is my turn to switch realms, and I will pile my red hair up with a clip and put on my stilettos and hold the cats and grab my keys and gulp some caffeine and get out the door. As I reflect, I will kick myself for what I am missing, but this gives it meaning and shape and form, and I am here unless you kill me. but I might kill you first, so shut up and listen to my story. Because I am Horatio, and I am still here for a reason. So let there be salvation for the poor scribe. Amen.
Thank you. And next in the open mic, we have Gerda Ilvis, who has featured here once or twice, and she's a tremendous supporter of both this reading and Beyond Baroque. And Gerda, in spite of the distance and the darkness and the cold, has managed to get here, to be here for Mary's book launch. And she's going to share a couple of poems of her own poems. 4 minutes, but if an ambulance comes by, 8 minutes.
Thank you, Alex. I think I'll do it this way. Before I leave the Okay. What do I know for certain? You weren't given the chance to fully taste life, bitter or sweet. Your name engraved on a star, winking a million miles away. Are you sending me signals? Time rushes forward. Am I aware my life diminishes on earth? A day passes. Do I remember details of what has transpired? Is being alive good? And what is good for you now? Do we live in reality or illusion? Is the one a shadow of another? Your image is in my memory. Beautiful, an opening rose, a bright morning. You parted from me too early. I expected fairness, but life doesn't promise it. All lives are different until we fade into the mystery of death. This is a short one. I had Syria in mind when I'm in the country when I was writing this. Tonight you are with me in our cozy place, embraced by happiness, a soft and silky shawl. You call me tender names I'll repeat in dreams, prolonging, fleeting nature of this bliss. The cruelty of world outside, when hundreds, thousands being killed. There's only perpetuity in stars and God's forgiveness.
And we have Fleur de Tay. Is there anyone else who was left out who would like to read in the open mic besides Fleur de Tay? Anyone who got here late or not? Okay. So then the last open mic reader will be Fleur de Tay, who is a regular at Beyond Baroque and a fierce reader.
Bravo! Two short poems. Things. With neither a cell phone nor pepper spray, by husky trees, by hills I run, precisely on the center yellow stripes of wide macadam roads. This morning no one is around.
But then a mantled man in a wheelchair appears. I deviate to say hello, meet on his path, we talk. He used to own a bar, asks, "Do you drink wine?" A sip? I say I don't. He served in World War II, talks about Hawaii, the bombs, the ships they interred. I say goodbye, leave. I hear him gasp, return. His face appears to be wilting beyond its expiration date. Tells me, be careful. Things also happen around here. Second poem, The Bell. It is 10:33 of today, fringes of light outside. From here, the sun too far. On the lawn, clay pots hold aloes next to ferns. Epidendrum to the right, lots of them in reds. They hardly ever fade or seem to die. It is 10:34 of today, a quiet morning. Sprays of lights on ground. Here, by my bougainvillea's thorns, the fence I built, interred, post, painted brown, its open gate adorned with the head of a rusted eagle. From her beak hung a rooster bell. I face the bell. She seems to want to play with strife. She's showing signs of wanting war. She's showing signs of wanting me. I look at her. It is 10:35 of today.
Thank you, Florida Tig. And before we have C.S. Blue come up, we will have two things happening briefly. One of them is the equivalent of the 7th tradition in 12-step meetings, which is passing this out. If you want to contribute $1 or $2 or $3 or $4 to the reading, I do pay rent here. I bought some chairs. I have a webmaster and all that. If you, not the features, of course, but if you want to make a little contribution to poetry, these events do cost money, and not too much, but a little bit. And of course, I did buy this equipment several years ago, and so far it's holding up. So in order for the reading to hold up, I hope you can make a little contribution. And while that's happening, maybe Tadami would like to come up and say a few words about this beautiful theater.